Sometimes, the very place considered the most sacred in your home can actually be the hidden source of troubles you never realized. An altar is meant to bring peace and harmony, but if it's placed incorrectly or unintentionally violates spiritual taboos, it can lead to declining health, financial loss, and constant unease in just a short time. You may be surprised, but even a tiny detail on the altar can reverse the entire flow of energy in your home. This isn't superstition, it's the natural law of energy. Once respect and the original intention are disrupted, imbalance immediately appears. In today's video, I'm going to share with you 5 serious altar mistakes that many families unknowingly commit. More importantly, I'll show you how to avoid them so you can restore peace and reopen the flow of prosperity into your home. Before we dive deeper, leave a comment below saying, "I open my door to welcome good energy." Think of it as your new beginning today. And don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and stay with me until the very end, because the final thing I share will truly surprise you. In every home, the altar is not just a decorative corner with tradition attached to it. It's the spiritual heart, the energetic center that connects people with their ancestors, divine presence, and unseen values that are immensely powerful. In feng shui, the altar is considered a gateway of energy. It works like a transfer station where positive flow can be attracted, preserved, and spread throughout the living space. This means when an altar is placed correctly, kept clean, and cared for with sincerity, the family will naturally feel peace, harmony, and long-term prosperity. But on the other hand, even a small mistake can turn its energy heavy, distorted, and directly affect health, finances, and the stability of relationships. Think about it this way, like a garden. If you care for the soil, water, and sunlight properly, plants flourish, and flowers and fruits will bloom. But if neglected, with trash piling up, the soil dries out, plants wither, and harmful pests invade. An altar is the same. It requires care and purity so that positive energy can nourish the home and those who live in it. For many families, declining health, financial instability, or ongoing stress isn't random. It often begins when the energy flow in the home is disrupted, and the root cause is the way the altar is placed and maintained. Now, let's go through 5 things you must absolutely avoid when arranging your altar. These are not small details to overlook. They are core principles to ensure your altar stays sacred, your home's energy remains clear, and prosperity as well as peace can flow continuously. Mistake 1. Placing the altar near unclean areas. The altar is the most sacred spot in your home, a symbol of purity, reverence, and connection with higher energy. Yet, many families unknowingly make a serious mistake, placing it near the bathroom, next to a trash can, or right by the kitchen filled with smoke and grease. This is one of the worst taboos, because it pollutes the altar's purity and drives away positive energy. Imagine this. You invite an honored guest to your home, but make them sit right next to a smelly trash bin. Would they feel comfortable? Of course not. In feng shui, the altar is considered the seat of divine presence and ancestral spirit. If surrounded by filth and unclean energy, positive forces won't stay. Instead, heavy, damp, and negative energy takes over. Bathrooms hold moisture and bacteria. Trash cans collect foul odors, and kitchens produce grease and smoke. When these affect the altar directly, families often experience health decline, frequent illness, mental unrest, and constant fatigue. On top of that, negative energy creates obstacles in work, unstable finances, and money slipping away quickly. Many people notice that after placing their altar near unclean spaces, the household feels tense, the atmosphere grows heavy, and arguments arise more often. This is not coincidence. It's the direct result of negative energy invading a place meant to remain sacred. Solution: place the altar in a high, clean, airy, and quiet area. If changing its position is impossible due to your home's structure, use partitions, wooden screens, or add greenery to block and reduce negative influence. Most importantly, always keep the area around the altar clean, tidy, and serene. Once the altar is properly placed, you'll notice a clear change. The air in your home feels lighter, health becomes more stable, and prosperity begins to flow steadily, simply because positive energy always seeks out spaces of purity and respect to reside in. Mistake 2. Letting the altar collect dust, withered flowers, or rotten fruit. One of the most common mistakes families make is allowing the altar to gather dust, ashes, wilted flowers, or spoiled fruit left to rot right on the offering tray. This isn't just about appearance. It's a clear sign of neglect and lack of respect for a sacred space. In feng shui, the altar is like a mirror reflecting the energetic state of the entire home. When it is bright and clean, positive energy flows smoothly, attracting luck and prosperity. But if it is dirty, moldy, or filled with spoiled offerings, negative energy builds up instead. This creates stagnation, heaviness, and directly affects the health and spirit of everyone in the household. Imagine visiting a close friend, only to step into a living room full of dust, messy furniture, and rotten food. How would you feel? Certainly not comfortable, likely wanting to leave right away. The altar is the same. If we let it remain dirty and neglected, good fortune and blessings will also leave the home. Many people have shared that when they neglected their altar, their work was often disrupted, money slipped away quickly, and unnecessary arguments broke out at home. This is no coincidence. It's because positive energy was no longer being nurtured. Solution: build the habit of cleaning the altar regularly, at least once a week. Replace water daily, change flowers as soon as they begin to wilt, and never leave rotten fruit or spoiled food offerings. The altar doesn't need to be overly elaborate. It only needs to be bright, tidy, and maintained with sincerity. When your altar is kept clean, you'll notice the shift immediately. The atmosphere in your home feels lighter, everyone's mood improves, work flows smoothly, and finances are easier to retain. Positive energy is always tied to freshness and purity. Mistake 3. Placing a mirror or reflective surface directly facing the altar. Many families hang mirrors in their homes to make spaces feel larger or to brighten a room. But placing a mirror or any reflective object directly opposite the altar is a serious feng shui mistake. This is considered one of the strongest taboos because it disrupts the energy flow of the entire home. In feng shui, the altar is the sacred energy center, the focal point of reverence and blessings. When a mirror reflects it, the energy no longer concentrates, but instead scatters and becomes chaotic. In fact, the mirror can bounce positive energy right out of the home, making good fortune hard to hold on to. This often results in money flowing in only to flow back out, unstable careers, and emotional well-being suffering. Think of it like holding a full glass of water, but constantly tilting it. No matter how much water you pour in, it spills out instead of staying in the glass. That's exactly what a mirror facing the altar does. It pours out the good energy, leaving the family unable to hold on to peace and prosperity. Many people report that when they placed a mirror reflecting the altar, the house felt uneasy, sleep became restless, and even nightmares appeared frequently. Others noticed their money disappearing quickly and relationships becoming strained without clear reasons. Solution: never place mirrors, glass, or any reflective surface directly facing the altar. If one is already there, change its position immediately. If unavoidable, use curtains or partitions to block the reflection. Most importantly, keep the space around the altar quiet and focused, so good energy can gather and spread naturally. Once you remove the reflection, you'll feel the difference right away. Your home becomes calmer, emotions steadier, and financial flow more stable. Many people have noticed that when they just go through the motions with offerings, their homes show signs of imbalance. Work faces obstacles, money doesn't stay, family members feel drained, and unnecessary arguments arise. All of this reflects a disruption in the flow of energy. Solution: always choose fresh, clean, and appropriate offerings. They don't need to be luxurious or extravagant. The most important element is sincerity. When preparing the altar, take a few quiet moments to send blessings or express genuine gratitude. That intention is the most powerful energy you can place on the altar. Once you shift this habit, you'll clearly feel the difference. The atmosphere at home becomes more harmonious, your spirit feels lighter, and financial opportunities appear more often. Sincerity always opens the direct doorway to positive energy and blessings. Mistake 5. Using careless offerings without sincerity. One of the most overlooked but serious taboos is making offerings carelessly, without mindfulness or sincerity. Many people think simply placing a few items for appearance is enough. Worse, some even put spoiled, expired, or fake items on the altar. This is a grave mistake, because the altar is not about the objects themselves, it's about the heart and respect behind the offering. In both feng shui and spirituality, energy doesn't lie in the material value of the offering, it lies in sincerity. A simple plate of fresh fruit, carefully chosen and placed with true reverence, carries far more positive energy than expensive items placed out of obligation. If the altar constantly receives careless offerings, the sacred connection with divine presence and ancestors weakens. This makes it harder for the family to attract blessings, while prosperity slips away. Step 1. Choose the right location for the altar. The very first and most crucial step is the altar's placement. When placed correctly, the altar not only maintains its sacred presence, but also allows positive energy to gather and spread throughout the home. The altar should always be placed in a high, open, and clean area, never too low to the floor or in a spot with heavy foot traffic. If it's too low, it gives the impression of being disrespected. A higher placement symbolizes reverence and makes it easier for positive energy to circulate. Absolutely avoid placing the altar near bathrooms, trash bins, or smoky kitchens. These areas carry impure energy that contaminates the altar's sacredness. If your living space is limited, use partitions, wooden screens, or greenery to create a clean boundary around it. Think of the altar as your central energy station. Step 2. Keep the altar clean and bright. Equally important is maintaining the altar's cleanliness and brightness. The altar is like the spiritual face of your home. When this face is bright and fresh, positive energy flows naturally. But if it's left dusty, with wilted flowers or murky water, the atmosphere turns heavy and stagnant. The altar is not just a space for offerings, it's a symbol of respect. Caring for it regularly is a way of showing sincerity. You don't need extravagance, just pay attention to simple habits. Dust it regularly, replace water daily, remove wilted flowers, and change fruit once it starts to spoil. A clean, bright altar lightens the entire household. When the altar is tidy, everyone's mood improves, stress in the home eases, and relationships become more harmonious. This simple act helps peace and prosperity stay much longer. A clean altar is also a reminder that you value your home and know how to preserve positive energy. Step 3. Make offerings with sincerity. Another key principle is offering with a sincere heart. Many people mistakenly believe that the more expensive or abundant the offerings, the more respect is shown. But in feng shui and spirituality, the true power lies in intention. A single fresh flower or a clear glass of water offered with genuine reverence is far more powerful than an extravagant feast placed for show. The altar is not a place to display wealth, it's a reflection of gratitude. If offerings are careless or spoiled, positive energy gets disrupted. As a result, careers face difficulties, finances become unstable, and the household atmosphere turns heavy. Choose offerings that are simple, fresh, and clean. Before placing them, take a brief moment to send a heartfelt prayer or blessing. When it comes from sincerity, the altar becomes a wellspring of energy that nurtures harmony, peace, and natural prosperity. When placed in the right spot, it attracts good fortune, safeguards family peace, and supports success in both career and finances. This is the foundation for opening the door to prosperity and blessings. Step 4. Keep the altar's surroundings quiet. For the altar to radiate its full energy, the space around it must be calm and quiet. The altar is a sacred place of stillness and focus. If placed near TVs, speakers, or areas where children often play loudly, its sacred energy becomes scattered, losing its true presence. In feng shui, noise is considered a disruptive force. It scatters energy. When the altar is surrounded by constant noise, positive energy cannot accumulate, and the family may feel anxious, stressed, and easily drawn into unnecessary conflicts. Imagine trying to meditate or read in peace while loud music and chatter surround you. Could you truly stay calm inside? The altar works the same way. Without quiet, it cannot serve as the energetic anchor of the home. The best solution is to place the altar in a separate, quiet, and serene space. If that isn't possible, use partitions, curtains, or false ceilings to reduce noise impact. Give your altar its own zone of peace and reverence, so good energy can gather and spread. Now that we've gone through the 5 major taboos to avoid, the next important step is understanding how to do things the right way, so that your altar truly becomes a gateway to blessings, health, and prosperity for your family. The good news is, you don't need anything complicated or expensive. By following just a few simple but consistent principles, you'll see a remarkable shift in your home's energy. From this small habit, true abundance begins to unfold. Final reflection. So we've just gone through the 5 major altar taboos every household must avoid, from placing it near unclean areas, letting it gather dust and spoiled offerings, hanging mirrors that reflect it, positioning it under beams or in noisy spots, all the way to making careless offerings. Each one can strip away sacredness and cut off the flow of good energy. Remember, the altar is the central point that draws peace, prosperity, and health for the entire family. But if these mistakes are made, it can instead become the very source of misfortune, instability, and loss. That's why you must always keep these principles in mind. Place the altar correctly, keep it clean, and care for it with sincerity. When you do, you'll feel the transformation. Your home becomes lighter, relationships more harmonious, health improves, and prosperity stays with you much longer. In every home, the altar is more than a space for offerings. It is a symbol of reverence and gratitude. It is like a spiritual beacon, keeping the family's energy in balance. When you place the altar correctly, keep it clean, and care for it sincerely, you open the doorway for health, peace, and prosperity to enter. But if the taboos are ignored, the altar loses its sacredness, and positive energy cannot remain. When cared for properly, however, it becomes a source of light, like a lamp that forever shines and protects the home. What matters most is not luxury, but the heart. Every time you clean the altar, replace fresh flowers, or place even a small but sincere offering, you plant another seed of peace and blessing for your family. These small but consistent acts are the true foundation of lasting prosperity. Before leaving this video, write a comment with this affirmation: I am opening the door for peace and prosperity to flow into my life. Step 5. Care for the altar consistently. Finally, but no less important, is regular care. Many families only clean or light incense on holidays or special occasions, while neglecting it on normal days. This unintentionally interrupts the altar's energy. The altar should be part of daily life, not just occasional ritual. It doesn't take much time, just a few minutes each day, to replace water, adjust offerings, light incense, or gently dust is enough to keep the altar glowing. These small but steady acts keep positive energy nourished and continuously flowing into the home. When the altar is cared for consistently, you'll feel the difference. Your living space feels lighter, your spirit calmer, and good fortune naturally finds its way to you. This steady upkeep builds a stable energy field that shields the family from misfortune and opens new opportunities. An altar is not just a place to set fruit or offerings. That simple statement will be your first step in activating positive energy today. And don't forget to hit subscribe to continue this journey with me and discover more powerful feng shui insights, helping you create a better, more fulfilled life. Mistake 4. Placing the altar under a ceiling beam or in a noisy area. Another mistake families often make is placing the altar directly under a ceiling beam or in areas filled with noise. In feng shui, this is a major taboo because it creates invisible pressure that disrupts the natural energy flow of the home. A ceiling beam is seen as a symbol of suppression. When the altar sits directly beneath it, positive energy gets blocked, unable to grow naturally. It's like a tree pressed down by a heavy stone. It cannot rise tall and eventually withers. This stifles the family's fortune, making progress in work and career difficult, with constant obstacles along the way. Worse still, many families position the altar near TVs, speakers, or places where children run around noisily. This robs the altar of its sacred presence. An altar needs quiet, stillness, and purity to gather good energy. It holds a far deeper meaning. It is a gateway that connects us with the universal energy. When the altar is kept clean, placed correctly, and cared for with sincerity, it works like a pure, flowing spring, constantly nourishing the entire home with peace and good fortune. On the other hand, when the altar is neglected, dusty, or wrongly positioned, that spring becomes murky, or even dries up, allowing negative energy to creep in. This is why caring for the altar is not just a ritual of reverence, but also a way of maintaining balance in life, health, and prosperity. Think of the altar as the energetic heart of the home. Just as a strong heart keeps the whole body healthy, a vibrant altar filled with positive energy blesses the entire family with harmony and lasting prosperity. If constantly disturbed by loud noise, its energy disperses, leaving the family anxious, unsettled, and prone to petty conflicts. Picture yourself trying to meditate for inner peace, but all around you are blaring music and endless chatter. Could you remain calm? The altar is the same. In a noisy, chaotic environment, its sacred energy cannot concentrate, and its blessing power is lost. Solution: choose a quiet, airy, and stable location for the altar, never under a ceiling beam. If structural changes aren't possible, use a false ceiling or wooden panel to shield it, reducing the oppressive effect. And never place the altar near TVs, speakers, or noisy areas. Give it its own sacred, peaceful space. Once placed correctly, you'll notice a profound difference. The home feels more harmonious, relationships smoother, and work more successful, because positive energy finally has room to thrive.